Hello, pupils. You're welcome to another edition of your favorite program, The Classroom in Your Home, a program organized by Lagos State Government and packaged by Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board, LASUBEB. It is to ensure that you're academically engaged in addition to what you're learning in school. I am Auntie Fumi, your English Studies teacher, and I have with me, as usual, your wonderful teachers.
Hello, children. I am your mathematics teacher, Uncle Agbaje, but you know me as the mathematician.
Uncle Popo is here, your general studies teacher.
And we also have our hard-working sign language interpreter in the house. He is Uncle Niyi. Together,
We are bringing the classroom into your home.
Please stay tuned. Hello, pupils. You're welcome to Auntie Fumi's class. In our English Studies lesson today, we'll be looking at sentence types. Yes, sentence types. That is the topic for today. But before we go into this topic, let's have the correction to our previous homework. Last week we looked at conditional clauses. You remember? Good. So, let's have the correction to our lesson on conditional clauses. You were asked to complete the sentences with the correct form of the verbs in brackets to fulfill the conditional types indicated. Auntie Fumi got 5 out of 5. What about you? Are you sure? Then I celebrate you with a chair. Good job, you. Now, to our main lesson for today, we said we are going to look at sentence types or types of sentences. So by the end of today's lesson, you should be able to name different types of sentences, and you should also be able to categorize sentences based on types. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to name different types of sentences, and you should also be able to categorize sentences based on types. So, let's begin. What is a sentence? You've been hearing that word, sentence. Make a sentence. See the sentence. Read the sentence. What is a sentence? A sentence is a group of words that makes complete sense. A sentence is a group of words that makes complete sense. 4 words, 5 words, 10 words, 15 words put together to make a complete sense. That is a sentence. A sentence usually contains a subject. That subject is also known as the performer of an action. And a sentence also contains a verb. And that verb is the action carried out by the subject. In a sentence, you have 2 things, the subject and you have the verb. The subject is the performer of the action, and the verb is the action carried out by the subject. Are we together? Well done. Now let's look at the types of sentences that we have. Let's look at the types of sentences that we have. Our first type of sentences is assertive or declarative sentences. Assertive or declarative sentences, also known as statements. We also have questions or interrogative sentences, followed by imperative sentences, also known as commands. Yes, commands. Number 4, requests, followed by exclamatory sentences, and we have optative sentences, We have statements, questions, commands, requests, exclamatory sentences, optative sentences. Now let's look at these types of sentences one after the other. Statement, also known as a declarative sentence. Statement or declarative sentence. This can be either in the positive or affirmative. It means the same thing. It can either be in the positive or negative. It can either be in the affirmative or negative. For example, the woman came here. The woman came here. That is in the positive form. Look at the sentence. David is not a prefect. David is not a prefect. Because we have not there, it makes it a negative sentence. So, the woman came here, positive. David is not a prefect, negative. Bola is on her way home, positive. It is not safe to go out at this time. That is a negative sentence or a negative statement. It is not safe to go out at this time. That is a negative statement. Are we together? So we have looked at statements and we've said statement can either be in the positive or negative. Now let's look at another type of sentence. That is interrogative sentence, also known as questions. This is used to get a response from someone. We use questions to get a response from someone. For example, do you like this book? Do you like this book? Because it's a question, definitely it must end with a question mark. Do you like this book? Is he eating the food? Is he eating the food? Can we do this together? Those are examples of questions. Now, the third type, request. Request. This is used to make polite demands. It is used to make polite demands. For example, a cup of tea, please. A cup of tea, please. That is a polite demand or request. Could you please help me to carry this bag? Could you please help me to carry this bag? May I go to the bathroom? May I go to the bathroom? Those are examples of requests. And we said requests. We use request in making polite demands. Now let's go to exclamatory sentence. Exclamatory sentence. Exclamatory sentences show emotions or feelings like sadness, joy, or surprise. For example, when you have a sentence like, what a great experience that was. What a great experience that was. You have the exclamation mark at the end of that sentence. So it makes it an exclamatory sentence. What a beautiful car you have there. What a beautiful car you have there. You have the exclamation mark too. Now, let's look at optative sentence. Optative sentence. What do we mean by optative sentence? It expresses greetings, wishes, prayers, or even curses. We use optative sentence when we want to express greetings, wishes, prayers, or even curses. Here are examples. May God bless Nigeria. May God bless Nigeria. Many happy returns. May God bless Nigeria is an example of a prayer. Many happy returns. That is a wish. Many happy returns. Now it's activity time. Let's see how attentive you have been in the course of this lesson. In each of the following, write S for statement, C for command, R for request, Q for questions, E for exclamatory, O for optative. Here are 5 sentences. You tell me if they are statements, if they are exclamatory sentences, if they are optative sentences, if they are questions, if they are commands. You just write the alphabet in front of each of the sentences. Your pen's down. Now let's do the correction together. 5 out of 5. Are you sure? Then I celebrate you with a chair. Well done, smart children. For your homework, please copy this assignment. The instruction is that you write S for statement, C for command, R for request, Q for question, E for exclamatory, and O for optative sentence. I give you the next 20 seconds to capture this assignment, and I will be back to sign out. By now, you should have finished copying your assignment. Please make sure you submit your assignment, and don't forget to indicate your name, your school, your class, and your local government education authority. That is the only way through which you can be identified and appraised accordingly. Make sure you do your homework. The next thing now is our game time. Game time. So, in this segment, what you're going to do today is that you rearrange the following to form a single word. You rearrange these letters to form a single word. You have the next 30 seconds to do that. All right, can we have the correction to the game? YOB, when rearrange gives you this word, boy. Did you get that? Wow, brilliant. The next one, RBVE gives you, when you rearrange, it gives you this word, verb. Verb, V-E-R-B. The third one, marriage. Did you get that too? Wow, you're brilliant. Followed by school and virus. Did you get the 5? Are you sure? Then you're smart children, and I celebrate you with a chair. Well done. On that note, I say that's it for today. We have come to the end of the English Studies lesson for today. We looked at types of sentences. I believe you had fun learning the types of sentences that we have. I did too. So it's time to hand you over to the mathematician, Uncle Agbaje, for a well-packaged mathematics lesson. But before I go, I want to remind you that I am proud of you. Bye.
Hello children, you are welcome to this segment of the program, The Classroom in Your Home. It is mathematics time, and that means it is time to have some fun. I am Uncle Agbaje. Today in mathematics, we will move away from our work on algebra and algebraic equations. We will look at a very interesting topic, and it is angles and the measurement of angles. I'm sure you must have heard about the word angle before. Trust me, working with angles is so easy in mathematics. All you have to do is just put your pen and paper aside and get ready to come along with me. Before we do that, we'll look at correction to the previous homework. So, did you get all 4 over 4, 3 over 4, 2 over 4? Well, you have done well, and I'm going to celebrate you with a chair because you are very smart. Now, we will move on to the learning objectives for today. By the end of this lesson, what should we be able to achieve? We are going to be working with angles. So by the end of the lesson, you should be able to identify the right angle and the straight line angle. You should be able to identify acute angles and obtuse angles. And finally, you should be able to tell the measure angles using the numbers on the clock face. So these are the things you should be able to do by the end of the lesson. So sit back and relax, and let's just get started. Now, what are angles? An angle is formed at the meeting point of two lines. Now, here is a line and here is another one. They meet at this point, and this space in between them forms the angle. If this line had been angled lower, then the angle will be smaller. If it had been standing a little bit straighter, then the angle will be bigger. But the space in between is the angle. This angle will go all the way like this. Let me use a white. Okay. This whole space. Okay. This whole space, of course, is the angle, but we don't usually put the line there. We put it right close to the point. So this is the angle. So the angle is formed when two lines meet. If the two lines do not meet, then no angle is formed. Now, we can understand angle better if we think of angle as lines, the total distance moved by two lines, one moving about the other, like this one. The more it moves, the bigger the angle gets. The more it moves, the bigger the angle gets. So when you see two lines joined together forming an angle, think of it as one is moving round the other, okay? Now, the total distance moved at any point in time by the line that is moving about is called the angle. So imagine that this is a line, and this is another line, this is another line. They're forming angles because they're all meeting at this point. Now, if we have AOB, that is this angle from A at the center O to the B, this A, assume it starts from here and it has moved to this point, it has formed an angle. But that angle is smaller than MOB, because if this is M, we assume that it starts from here and it has gone round and it has gotten to this point, and that space is obviously bigger. So this angle A to B is actually smaller or less than or M to B or A to M. This one is bigger than this, and this O1 is bigger than AOB. So this space again is the angle. Now, I want you to form your own angles right now. Put your pen in between your paper and go to the door of your room. Then close the door. Are you there already? Keep the door shut. Now there is no space between the door and the door frame, and you have no angle. Now I want you to open the door slightly, a little bit, such that nobody will be able to come in, but there is still space. Now you have formed an angle. Now, gradually open the door a little bit. The angle is increasing. Open it, and open it all the way. The more you open the door, the larger the angle gets. So all you have to do is look at where the door is fixed to the wall, and you see the space opening up. Then you have your own angle. Angles can be formed by the door of our houses. It can even be formed by the forearm and the upper arm, because when you close it up like this, you have zero angle, and when you open it up, the more you open it, the larger the angle gets. Now let us look at some special angles. When the line that is moving around begins at a point like this and goes round the point back to the starting point, we say that it has moved a total angle of 360 degrees by mathematical convention. And that means that all mathematicians agree that when the line goes round and comes back to the starting point, it has gone around 360 degrees. So think of your clock. The seconds hands that go round, it starts from 12 and goes to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. By the time it gets back to 12, it has gone 360 degrees. How many degrees? 360 degrees, like this. Gets back to the starting point, 360 degrees. So now for this angle, when the line moves halfway around the circle, obviously it has traveled half the total distance. And if the total distance is 360 degrees, half of it will be 180 degrees. And observe that if it starts from here and gets halfway, 180 degrees, that forms a straight line automatically. And so we call this the straight line angle. And so the total angle on the straight line is how many degrees? Is 180 degrees. Okay. Now when the line moves 1/4 of the distance, okay, so the whole distance is 360, half of it is 180, and 1/4, which is also half of 180, that is 90 degrees. So when it moves 1/4 of the way, like from 12 to 3, that is 1/4 of the way, and that is 90 degrees, because if we divide 360 degrees into 4 equal parts, we'll get 90 degrees. So the distance from this point to this point is said to be 90 degrees, and this is a very important angle in mathematics. We call it the right angle, and usually the right angle is marked with a box. So if you see a box in any angle corner, just know that automatically that angle is 90 degrees. So I'll take it again. Total distance around the circle, 360 degrees. Halfway forms a straight line, and that is 180 degrees. Half of that, which is 1/4 of the whole circle, is 90 degrees, and that is what we call the right angle. Now let's move on quickly. Now angles that are smaller than the right angle are called acute angles. They are smaller than the right angle. As you can see, I've divided the circles into 4, which means that each part is 90 degrees. But these angles are smaller between these two, smaller than 90, because this is 90 from here to here. This one is also smaller than 90, also smaller than 90, also smaller than 90. 90 is 1/4 of the circle. And so all these angles are smaller than 90, the angles that are shaded blue. And so we call this type of angles, we call them acute angles. And that is because they have pointed, they are pointed at the end, they are sharp. When we say something is acute, it means it is sharp. You can call them sharp angle if you like, but we call them acute angles. Acute angles are angles that are smaller than 90 degrees. But if they are bigger than 90 degrees, then we call them obtuse angles. We call them obtuse angles, and obtuse means something that is blunt. So they are no longer sharp, okay? If a knife is has this shape, then it's no longer going to be as effective as a knife that is pointed. So these are angles that are bigger than 90 degrees, and that is because if we say that this is the starting point, then 90 will be here, and obviously this line has gone beyond 90. If this is the starting point, 90 gets to this point, this is more than, if this is the starting point and it is going this way, then 90 will get to this point because that is 1/4, but this is already more than, so that is 90 degrees, but it is not up to the straight line. So these are obtuse angles. We say that obtuse angles are bigger than 90 but less than the straight line. Obtuse angles are bigger than 90 but less than the straight line. Now, let's perform an activity with our arms. So I want you to stand up right now. Okay. Now, I want you to stretch your arms like this, stretch your arms like this. Now, right hand, then left hand. Okay. So we're going to be forming angles with our hands. Okay. So stretch out your right arm like this. Okay. By your body now. Now, between your arm and your body, there is no space right now. And so that is 0 angle. Okay. But by the time you raise it like this, like this, like this, you raise it until it is parallel to the ground like this, and you have 90 degrees. The distance between your arm and your body, when your arm is very straight and parallel with the floor, going in the same direction with the floor, that is 90 degrees with your body. Now, anything less than that is acute. Back to parallel, that is 90 degrees. Now, if you raise it high until your hand is now aligned with your body, that forms a straight line with your body. I hope mine is. That forms 180 degrees, a straight line. When it gets back to the middle like this, 90. Are you doing the same thing? 180, 90. Important angles. Now, anyone that is less than 90, that's acute. Greater than 90, that is obtuse. So let's go. 90, 180, 90, acute, obtuse, 90, 180. Good job, you, my friend. Practice with this, and this should help you remember straight line angles, acute angles, obtuse angles, and of course, the right angle. Now, I'm going to be showing some angles on the screen. I want you to take a guess as to the magnitude or the sizes of these angles. I'm going to help you with the first one. This, of course, is 1/4 of the whole, and the whole is 360, so 1/4 is the right angle, and that is 90 degrees. Anything that is more than that is acute. Anything that is less than that is obtuse. So this is obviously 90 degrees. Now, if you were to look at this angle, how many degrees do you think it will be? Know that from here to that point is 90. From here down this way is 180. So this should be in between. So how many degrees do you think this is? What are you saying? Well, let's say the correct option is 120 degrees. Did you get something close to that? Well, you get another chance very soon. How many degrees do you think this is? First question, is it up to 90? More than 90? Well, have you made the guess? This angle is 50 degrees. It is less than 90 degrees because from here to this point is 90 degrees. But this blue shaded part, the angle is less than that. Now let's move on. How about this angle? Is it more than 90 or less than 90? This is, okay, make a guess as to the size of the angle. 80, 40, 30, 150, 120, 110. Okay, so let's see. It is more than 90, obviously, because 90 starts from this point to this point. That is 90, but this is more than that. This is actually 100 degrees. How many did you get right? Well, with practice, you will get them all, but you can take this one as the final one. How many degrees do you think this is? Less than 90? More than 90? All righty then, I believe you made a selection. This is less than 90. It is actually 70 degrees. Okay. Now, let's look at the numbers on the clock face. Remember that there are 12 numbers on the clock face. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And now the clock face is a circle, and the total degrees in a circle is 360 degrees. Now, if we divide that into the 12 numbers on the triangle or on the clock face like this, then we are going to be having these lines, this line joining 10 to 4, 11 to 5, 1 to 6. You know, we have 12 to 6. Then we divide into 12 equal parts. If we divide 360 into 12 equal parts, then each part should be 30 degrees. And what that means is that on the clock face, by the time the long hand of the clock or the short hand or any hand for that matter moves from 12 to 1, that is 30 degrees. 30 degrees making 60, 30 degrees 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270, 300, 330, 360. Round the circle. And so between each number on the clock face, the angle is 30 degrees. I hope that this is clear because we're going to be using that to solve many problems. Are you ready? Now, what is the angle between the hands of the clock? The hands of the clock are pointed to 3 and 6. So what is the angle? If this line moves from here down to this point, how many degrees is that? I think you already know the answer to this. But let's see, between 6 and 3, there are 3 numbers. So you have to physically count 1, 2, 3. Okay? And that means that the angle between each is 30 degrees, 30, 60, 90. So the total angle should be 3 times 30, and that is 90 degrees. Although I prefer to count. Don't just count the numbers and say 1, 2, 3, 4. No, just say from here to here, 30, 60, 90. All right, there are 3 spaces there. Let's see another one. What is the larger angle between the hands of the clock? This one is talking about the larger angle, and that's because there are 2 angles. It's either this line moves this way, which is the short way, or this way, which is the long way or the long angle. So this is asking for the larger angle, and that means you have to move the long way. How many spaces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that means that we have 30 degrees in 8 places, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. The difference is 8, and between each number there's 30 degrees. That is 30 degrees times 8, which is 240 degrees. So when you're asked to find the angle between the clock face and the hands of the clock on the clock face, always be sure about the angle, whether you're finding the larger angle or you're finding the smaller angle. You ready to solve some of your own? Look at this quickly and tell us the smaller angles between the hands of the clock. You will have 30 seconds for this. Begin. All right, then, I believe you had fun counting. Let's just look at what these angles are. For this one, it's 150 degrees. That is because if you count from 11 to 12, that is 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4 space, 5 spaces. That is 30 times 5, and that is 150. For this one, the short angle is 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is 30 times 4, that is 120. Now, let's quickly, this one is very easy to get. It's a straight line, and that is 180 degrees. You don't even need to calculate. Anytime you have a straight line, the angle is 180 degrees on a straight line. So whether you go this way or you go this way, it's the same, is 180. But for this one, from 7 to 6, that is 1 space. From 6 to 7 to 8, that's another space. And that is 30 in 2 places. And that is, of course, 60. But now this other end is between 8 and 9, so it divides it into 2. So which means instead of having the whole 30, you have half of 30, and that is 15. So this is 15 from the middle to the end to 8, that is 15, plus 30, that is 45, plus 30, that is 75. So how many did you get? You got 2, 3. Oh, this one, you stumbled here. It's no problem, my friend. You will have enough time to practice with the homework, which is coming up right about now. What is the larger angle between the hour and the minute hands? The larger angle this time when the time is 7 o'clock, 6:30, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Capture this in 20 seconds and I'll be right back. Alrighty then, we have come to the end of the mathematics lesson for today. I hope that you learned a lot of new things and that you will be doing your assignments. Don't forget that online assessments will also be there for you to have enough work to practice with. It's time for me to hand you over to Uncle Popo for the general studies lesson. Till I come your way in the next class, remain wonderful mathematicians. Bye bye now.
Hello, pupils. You are welcome to General Studies class. I am Uncle Popo. Let's open today's lesson the usual way we do. Uncle Popo is here. Your response should be, I am also here. Then when I say we are here together, then you chorus 100% attention. Uncle Popo is here. Good. We are here together. 100% attention. Good. That means you have promised to give me 100% attention in today's lesson. Our subject for today is basic science and technology. In our last lesson, we discussed safety. We also talked about, we defined accidents, common causes of accidents, items we can find in a first aid box. All of that we discussed in our last lesson. Today we want to look at another interesting topic in basic science and tech. And what is the topic for today? So let's listen to the learning objective first. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to define simple machines, 2. Describe a lever and its classes, and you should be able to identify parts of a lever and give examples. Now let's look at this. Let's look at this picture. Now the question, I want to ask a question here. I think you have seen the picture. So if you want to pack the tubers of yam here, you want to pack it at once, what do you think you will use to pack it that will require little of your strength to carry it? What will you use to just pack everything at once to where you want to take it to? Somebody said wheelbarrow. Good, wheelbarrow. That's a simple machine we can use for this. It's easy to pack it there and it requires little effort to push it to another place. So we are talking about simple machines today, and our focus will be on lever. Are you there, pupils? Are you there, pupils? Good. You say yes, Uncle Popo. Now, talking about simple machines, when I showed you the picture, we talked about what will you use that require little effort or your strength to lift those tubers of yam that I showed to you. And we talked about wheelbarrow. So simple machines, in one word, are tools or instruments which make our work easier to do. Tubers of yam there, and you use wheelbarrow to lift everything at once. That's a simple machine, and simple machines are tools or instruments which make our work easier and faster to do. That's simple machines. So we have many examples. I'm not saying it's only wheelbarrow that is regarded as simple machine, but listen, we shall unleash all the examples or some of the examples of simple machines. It may be work in the home. When we talk about the work we are talking about here, it may be work in the home, in the school or office, on the farm, or even in the workshop. So work could be anywhere. So talking about simple machines, we have inclined plane, wedge, lever, pulley, screw, wheel and axle, and so on. But don't forget, our focus for today is on lever. So example of such work, the work we are talking about, you know, I have told you the work will be at school, on the farm, at workshop. So example of such work we are talking about is moving a load or lifting a load, closing a door, and opening a bottle of soft drink, and so on. The kind of work we are talking about, I've explained here, moving a load, like you were using like you use wheelbarrow to pack the tubers of yam to another place. So that is the kind of work we are talking about here. Moving a load, lifting a load, closing a door, and opening a bottle of soft drink, and so on. Now, let's look at examples of simple machines. When we started in my introduction, we have talked about wheelbarrow. That means it's one of the examples. Let's look at some other examples. Don't forget, we are still focusing on levers. So levers, when we say lever, what do we mean? A lever is a type of simple machine. A lever is what? A type of simple machine, then used to lift or move a load. A type of simple machine, that's one word. What do we use that simple machine for? Used to lift or move. When you lift or move, what do you lift? What do you move? A load. So we have three key words there. A type of simple machine, lift or move. What do we use to lift or move? A load. So a lever is a type of simple machine used to lift or move a load. So that is lever. And talking about lever, we have three positions. Then I'll tell you what the positions are. This example of a simple lever. This example, so I'll still tell you the positions. We have three positions there. A lever enables people to walk using less force. A lever enables people to do work using less force. It can be used to exert a large force over a small distance at one end by exerting only a small force over a great distance at the other. You understand what I'm talking about? Let's look at this. But what we are saying here is a lever enables people to do work using less force. You use less force when you use a lever. And I told you it has 3 points. So let's look at it. It has a point of motion. That's we have 3 points. Point of motion, that's fulcrum. And we also have effort, that's another position. And we also have load. Those are the 3 positions. Now, in some of the instruments that we use at home, we have typical example of lever there. Look at this. This is a seesaw. And this point here, what do you think is called? I've said it. This is fulcrum, and we have our load and effort. Now let's look at this short video to talk more about fulcrum.
A long bar that's balanced on something underneath, and that something is called a fulcrum. By pushing down on one end of the lever, the fulcrum makes the other end go up, just like a seesaw at the playground. It's just a long bar that's balanced on a fulcrum.
Good. That is talking about fulcrum. Now let's move on to talk about the other parts. Let's look at the parts of lever now. Let's discuss that in full. Parts of lever. The lever has 3 parts: effort, load, fulcrum or pivot. When talking about effort, that's where the force is applied. That's the effort, where the force is applied. Then load, that's the weight to be lifted or moved. That's the load. The weight to be lifted or moved, that's load. And the third one, that's fulcrum or pivot. That's the point to move against. Let's look at it here. We have this is a lever, and here is what? Who can tell me this is a fulcrum? And where is your load? Where is your effort? This is your load. This is your effort. And when you use a lever, it requires little effort from the user. I can use this simple machine to push this heavy rock out of the way. Yes, with the help of a lever. And let's see how a lever works first before we talk about the 3 classes of lever.
If Squeaks hops on the low end of the seesaw and I push down on the high end, the lever moves on the fulcrum and I can lift Squeaks up.
Good. That's how lever works. In our seesaw, we have seen that. Now, let's talk about classes of lever. We have 3 classes of lever. But before that, let's quickly sing this song. Are you ready, pupils? The song is very simple, but I want you to dance to it to demonstrate how I'm doing here. Now listen, it's for boys and girls. Then let's go. You do like this. Fly like eagles, boys. Then you repeat the same thing. Fly like eagles, boys. Then you say the same thing back. Fly like eagles, girls. Fly like eagles, girls. Fly like eagles, boys. Fly like eagles, boys. Fly like eagles, girls. Fly like eagles, girls. Good. We have 3 letters in that song. I want to bring out 3 letters from that song. That's fly. That's, I want to represent that with letter F, like letter L, eagles, letter E. Now, talking about classes of level, what is most important is where the fulcrum stands. That's what is very important. First order level or first class level, that's the first one. Now, when talking about first class level, remember the song Fly Like. We mentioned fly first. That means letter F must be in the middle. The fulcrum should be in the middle. Where the load is or where the effort is not as important as where the fulcrum is. So fly is always, the fulcrum is always in the middle. That's the first class level. Fly, that's anytime you hear fly, that means the fulcrum will be in the middle. Effort could be here, load could be here, load could be here, effort could be there, but your fulcrum should be in the middle. That's the first class level. That's how to recognize for first class level. The fulcrum should be in the fly. What's the next? Like that will be in, let's look at the second class level. But before that, let's look at some examples of first class level or first order level. Examples are opening the lid of a tin container with spoon, a carpenter removing a nail with cat spur, a seamstress using a pair of scissors to cut a piece of cloth. All that, these examples are good examples of first class levels. Your scissors, your scissors, you're opening the lid of a tin container, and so on. Now let's move on to the second class level or second order level. Don't forget from that song, Fly Like. That is letter L. That means the load should be in the middle. Where the effort is or where the fulcrum is does not matter, but the load, fly like, that L should be in the middle. That's how to recognize a second order level of second class level. Now let's look at some examples. Examples are a boy using a wheelbarrow. Like we use wheelbarrow to pack the tubers of yam when we started. That's example of second class level because the fulcrum, the load is in the middle. The third one, don't forget the song Fly Like. The next one will be eagles. That is the E. The E stands for what? Effort. That means effort must be in between the load and the fulcrum. That means effort must be in the middle. Where the load is, it could be in this, my left hand side or right hand side, or otherwise, does not matter. But in third class level or third order level, effort must be in the middle. So effort is in between load and fulcrum. That's third order level or third class level. You can see it here, efforts in the middle, load or fulcrum. Now, can you tell me some of the examples of third order level? Let's look at them. A fisherman using a rod and hook to catch fish. That's one of the examples. A woman cutting yam into pieces with a knife. The knife you are using at home is one of the examples of third order level. What are the uses of lever? The uses every day lever helps you accomplish tasks that will otherwise be too heavy or difficult to accomplish. Tools like, we are talking about examples where we apply lever, hammer claws, wheelbarrows, bottle openers, tweezers and tongs, scissors, staplers, and many more. We have many examples How will you now recognize your lever? It must have the low effort and the fulcrum. Now it's time for evaluation. Evaluation time, let me hear you say activity time. Evaluation time, good. I have just 3 questions. Pens up. Good. Eyes on me. So let's mark together. Simple machines. Simple machines are tools or instruments which make our work easier to do. The 3 parts of a lever: effort, fulcrum, load. Name the class of lever. In each case, this one, load, fly like the L, that's second class or second order lever. And the load, effort, fulcrum, fly like eagles, letter E in the middle, that's third order lever. So rate yourself, and those that got all the 3 questions correctly, you deserve to be celebrated with a chair. That's it for today. Until next time, next lesson, Uncle Popo says, keep on studying. Bye.
My wonderful pupils, we have come to the end of another exciting episode on the Classroom in Your Home.
An exciting episode indeed it has been for us. I have enjoyed myself. And Tifumi, I trust that you have enjoyed yourself as well.
I did.
And we hope that you have enjoyed yourselves too. Now remember that practice, it's what leads to perfection. And for this reason, we have put together online lessons for you, online assessments for you to practice with, so that you can hone your skills in all that you have learned on the Classroom in Your Home. You can access these tests using the link bit.ly/lastwebtests. That is bit.ly/lastwebtests, where you will click on lesson 4 to find practice tests for today's lessons.
Taking the online test is based on if you have access to either your daddy's, your mommy's, your uncle's, or your auntie's Android or smartphones. If not, there's no problem. Just send your questions, your comments, and your homework to 081 50 86 5663. Please, SMS and WhatsApp messages only. Do not call. And when you're sending your assignment, ensure that you indicate your name,
your school,
your class,
and your local government education authority. This is the only way by which we can identify you and reward you accordingly.
As the teacher said, exciting episode we had today. Truly, you could testify to that we had exciting episode in our lessons today. Just like the previous ones, all these lessons are on Lagos Suburb YouTube channel for you to watch. You just need to subscribe so that you can get notification when new videos are uploaded. The Classroom in Your Home could be watched live on Facebook, the same time airing on television, through the page showing on the screen.
Until our next lesson, when we shall meet again for another wonderful edition on the Classroom in Your Home, please make sure you do your homework.
Wash your hands regularly.
Keep working hard, my friend. But above all,
Stay safe.
Because at La Subeb,
We leave no child behind.